Players may be fed up with Wizards of the Coast, but that didn't stop them from making some very unusual moves this week. The anger towards Wizards of the Coast only continues to grow. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. A big shout out to each and every one of you who's hit that subscribe button and helped my channel get closer to that 14,000 subscriber mark. We're only 200 subscribers away, so thanks a lot, everyone. To my regular viewers who tune in each and every day. Of course, my Patreon members, as well as my YouTube membership members, guys. This is a journey that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. In the dark days ahead of us, because trust me, they're coming. They may not seem like it yet, but they are definitely coming. When players who do have some disposable income decide they want to buy some Magic cards, we already know the anger and resentment toward Wizards of the Coast, the disappointment that players are feeling is going to make players stay away from a lot of sealed products right now. Stores are slashing them left, right, and center. I'll have another video Monday as I've gotten some new information on some stuff that I think you guys might find interesting. But when you have players who want to spend some money, you would think maybe they'd just be holding it and locking it down to see how the market turns out in the next 120 days or so. But that's not what apparently is happening this week. On today's Hot 10 video, it's a whole week of stats, but I've been doing this for quite a while. I've seen the numbers, I've followed everything through, and I've counted a lot of cards. The cards on this week's video are almost never here. And the volumes on some of these cards have never existed on the Hot 10. Usually higher numbered cards are going to be very low value cards. They're going to be Soul Echo. They're going to be Throw Champion, Soul Devi Excavation, some cards of the channel. Maybe they're going to be a Brain Geyser. Other times we've had things like Academy Rector on here, which was also a surprise. But the amount of cards that are surprising this week really floored me out because I thought people would be waiting. So as we go through the cards today and count it down from number 10 to number 1, I'll be going through some of the market stats I'm getting and what some of the other LGSs out there are telling me about some of these sales, as well as some of the stats I've gleaned for myself from people on the channel, as well as other people who send me information. So let's get through this together. Let's enjoy it. And I can't wait for you guys to show me those comments at the end and let me know what you're doing right now in the market. Are you holding? Are you getting ready to spend? Are you looking for a good deal? And are you staying away from sealed product? Because I'm hearing that everywhere. And again, we'll talk about that more on Monday with some of the more mistakes that Wizards is going through right now. So let's get to the video, and I can't wait to read your comments. Let's get the party started. Our first card today is Throw Champion at number 10 with 16 sales this week. And this card is actually trending up a bit right now. Cards like this, although I love them, guys, from Fallen Empires, and I do believe this card will have a future at some point, when I look at a card like this on the market, I recognize that this card right now is a falling commodity that will take a very long time to recover in price. These are not cards, unless it's near mint, these aren't cards I would be buying into right now. I'd be holding back. But apparently people decided otherwise, and they're saying, I want to get myself a Throw Champion. I want to join the tinfoil hat army of MTG Moxman, and they went out and bought one as well. And that's great. It's good to see. As long as you have some spare cash and you want to do something silly like this, I totally understand. I still buy 4 copies each and every month myself. Now, our next card is Gaia's Cradle. Now, this is Urza's Saga, and this is a whole different brand of fish when you're taking a look compared to, say, something like Throw Champion, which the 16 sales worked out to like $100. This is 17 sales from November 5th to the 11th. The market price is still $1,000, and although the price is trending down, players obviously recognized that there is some value here. They can see that there's a little bit of a savings, and people dove into this and said, you know what, on the Yellow Brick Road, this looks like a winner to me in the long run. And they decided to sink their teeth into this card. I, again, would have waited. I think we got another 90 days before things will really start bottoming out to see what people are going to do the closer we get to Christmas and post-release of the M30 packs. So I'll be curious to see how this card continues to react and if more players will buy into it, because this is a lot of sales for a card of this caliber. It's roughly around $15,000 to $16,000 in sales in a 1-week period for this card is phenomenal. I mean, it's an amazing card from the Urza's block. What can you say? Not coming around again, supposedly. Now our next card is Fork. Again, 19 sales, November 5th to 11th. Nothing very surprising here to talk about this card. Price has really bottomed out. I think it's actually going to fall further. Market price of $47.07. €31.55 to get this card to your house. Here in Canada, it's still around $56. I think that is a far cry from where it should be with current market conditions. So if you're looking to buy a card like this, I think you can wait a little while and let it fall down. Although it does see some play in Commander Vintage Legacy decks, I can see why people might be trying to complete a play set. And remember guys, if you're buying any of these cards on TCG Player, please remember to use my affiliate link found in the description of every single video I do. Just click the link, it'll take you to TCG Player, and of course you can start your shopping, and at that point anything you do gives a slight kickback to my channel, which is awesome. So thanks again everyone. Now number 7 is Anvil of Bogarden, another card that I was surprised to see back on the list with 26 sales this week. It is a phenomenal card and the price has really fallen down from its highs, but I still believe, as I've been telling you guys, cards like this will be reactive more than some of the more solid state cards. This was the first real rise in volume for these cards, but had huge sales. If it falls below that 35 mark though, that really puts it in a prime target to be bought up. And again, aim for the near mint copies. People still weren't using massive sleeves in the Vision era, so cards like this were still kind of tossed around a lot, and finding true near mint cards is a little more difficult than most people realize. The number 6 card this week is Brain Geyser with 29 sales this week. A market price of $26.03 US. Here in Canada, it's still going for $30, which is quite surprising. As the price continues to fall, expect cards like this to be found cheaper on things like TCG Player, as your local LGS will be reluctant to let prices like this fall below what they paid for them. The number 5 card this week is Tropical Island. Now, when we're taking a look at this, recognize that this card, although it's trending down in price, I still think the dual lands have a lot further to fall, but players, the secondary market investor players, are not letting it go that way. The market price here of €576.33. The overseas price is €412.06. Here in Canada, it's around $600 to $700 for a moderately played copy. This is still representing, again, around $15,000 roughly in sales, give or take a little bit. But the people buying these cards were also buying heavily played, moderate, and light played editions of this card. Some people actually bought complete play sets because at this price level and knowing where the history of the card is, they're willing to take the risk. In a market like this that is still kind of flushing out and seeing what will happen, I think that's a bigger risk than a lot of people realize. If you need just one for a commander deck, I understand diving in, but buying 4 or more and taking that speculative stance at the marketplace, I hope you have deep pockets to hold on, because I don't know if that was actually the right move at this time. But Tropical Island at this price is still very reasonable considering it was well over $1,000 before. The number 4 card is Taiga, and that is 33 sales. And again, this one is just starting to trend down, but the sales are picking up. So expect the next day or two for the trend to show a little bit of an upward spike, because 33 sales with a market price of $376.73 US is a far cry from what I expected to see on sales like this. I expect to see 8 or 9 at most. This is 3 times plus that number, which means there will be a kind of market reaction to this, and it'll show some stabilization in a lot of the dual lands, okay guys, because these sale prices and the amount that are selling are way outside the norm for cards like this. Once in a while, one dual land makes it in the hot 10, but not consistently this many. And guess what? Number 3 is Savannah, 33 sales this week, November 5th to the 11th, with a market price of $356.60. Now, overseas, $226.96. And if you look in the Canadian area, you're going to find this for about $450. Okay, it's still pretty pricey. People buying this were going for moderately played copies. No multiple buys, a lot of single sales across the market, as well as the LGSs. And that tells me it's individual players buying them for Commander. They're buying one copy. Either that or they're finishing off a playset finally. I find that interesting because the price was actually just starting to dip. I think there was a long way to go for some of these cards, but whoever was buying them decided this was the right price point for them. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the number 2 card on the list this week, and that's Fast Bond. 38 sales. This one here is kind of surprising. I didn't expect to see it at all on the list. Market price $17.54 US, €22.60 to get this card to your house, around $20 in Canada. but those are for near mint copies. You can find moderately played for like $7, $8 or even lower. I mean, it's only usable in a couple of formats. It's restricted everywhere, but people are still buying it, which I find fascinating to me. Now, we've made it through the video. We've gone this far down to number 2. I mean, Fastball's a great card. I love the artwork, but I'm still wondering why this amount of sales at this time. Like, why was it happening? That's interesting to me because I think this one here was a couple of people buying it. It seems to be localized to a couple of buyers. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the number 1 card. This is the card that topped everything out on the Yellow Brick Road journey to number 1, and that is Scrubland. 41 sales. That is phenomenal for a card like this. This is a dual land at number 1 this week with a market price of $329.53 US, €238.97 to get this card to your house. And in Canada, get this, heavily played copies can be found for $329 for a heavily played copy. But if you have a 5 or 10% discount in some of those stores, you might be paying around $300 or even a shy under. Phenomenal price for this card, guys. I can see why people are buying it. I was still surprised by the sheer volume that we've seen on cards like this. Now, remember, cards like this, these sales probably will not continue next week. I can't imagine them going that way. The market, the way it is right now, I think this is a flushing of the system of people who are willing right now to dive in and buy these particular cards. I don't think this trend will continue week after week because that is a lot of disposable income going for individual cards, and there can't be that many people willing to buy or bite at this price, especially when you consider the anger and resentment we're still seeing flushed in from people who I'm still getting emails daily about. So this was your Hot 10, guys. These are the hottest selling cards I could find on the reserve list this week, and it was crazy to see how many dual lands are on this list. It just, every time you count it, you're like, hey, crazy stuff. So thank you again for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for being here on the channel. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the live stream tonight, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time each and every Sunday. Have a great day, everyone. This is that moment in time where I get to say thank you to each and every patron on the channel. Thanks again, guys, for showing that support each and every month. You guys rock. You know it's true. 5 different dual lands in the Hot 10 in the same week. Welcome back, guys, to the end credit. That's crazy. That is something we've never seen. And it's all dual lands. Somebody's spending a lot of money picking these things up on the cheap, and they don't care what edition they're buying. I think it's a lot of Commander players who said, hey, it's finally kind of affordable. It's gone down a few bucks. That's good enough for me. Interesting. Because a lot of the local LGSs here and some of the stores I deal with are they're selling out. They sold a considerable amount of dual lands. Interesting stuff, guys. We'll see what this pans out in the next few weeks. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. Thanks for being here. I'll see you guys soon, you special people. Special.